The rain hammered against the windows of our Chicago apartment, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. For 20 years, Alistair, a 46-year-old IT specialist, had built a life with Bronte. We met in college, young, idealistic, and hopelessly in love. We weathered career changes, the loss of our parents, and the everyday grind of life. Or so I thought. It started subtly. Bronte, a vibrant and sociable marketing manager, became withdrawn. Her laughter, once a constant melody in our home, faded. She started working late, attending conferences out of state, and her phone became an extension of her hand, always face down, always password protected. I dismissed it as stress. Bronte always thrived under pressure, but maybe this was different. I tried to be supportive, cooking her favorite meals, drawing her a bath, offering a listening ear. But she remained distant, her eyes holding a sadness I couldn't decipher. Then came the lipstick. A shade of crimson I didn't recognize, smeared on the collar of her favorite blouse. I confronted her, my voice trembling. She brushed it off as a smudge from a client meeting, a careless accident. I wanted to believe her desperately, but the seed of doubt had been planted. I started paying closer attention. I noticed the way she flinched when I touched her, the way she avoided my gaze. Her stories became inconsistent, her alibis flimsy. I felt like I was living with a stranger, a ghost of the woman I loved. One evening, while Bronte was at a conference in Denver, I decided to surprise her. I knew her hotel, the Grand Imperial, and thought a romantic dinner would be the perfect way to reconnect. I booked a flight, my heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. What I found in Denver shattered my world. Bronte wasn't at the conference. She was in the hotel bar, intertwined with a man I'd never seen before. They were laughing, touching, their eyes locked in a gaze of undisguised affection. It was like watching a scene from a movie about someone else's life, a life I no longer recognized. I stood frozen, my breath caught in my throat. The blood drained from my face, leaving me cold and numb. I wanted to scream, to shout, to tear them apart, but I couldn't move. I was paralyzed by disbelief and pain. Finally, I turned and fled. I ran back to the airport, numbly booked the next flight home, and sat in stunned silence as the plane soared above the clouds. The world below seemed distant and unreal, a landscape of broken promises and shattered dreams. Back in our apartment, I paced like a caged animal. The evidence was overwhelming, undeniable. Bronte was cheating on me. Not just a fleeting moment of weakness, but a full-blown affair. The woman I had loved and trusted for 2 decades had betrayed me in the most profound way imaginable. I waited for her to come home, the hours stretching into an eternity. When she finally walked through the door, her face flushed, her eyes bright, I confronted her. "Who was he, Bronte?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She paled, her eyes widening in alarm. "What are you talking about, Alistair?" she stammered. "Don't lie to me," I said, my voice rising. "I saw you, Bronte, in Denver, with him." She burst into tears, collapsing onto the sofa. "It's not what you think," she sobbed. "Then what is it, Bronte?" I demanded. "Tell me the truth," she confessed. "His name was Jasper, a colleague from work. It started as a harmless flirtation," she claimed, but quickly escalated into something more. She admitted to the late nights, the conferences, the lies. She swore she still loved me, that it was a mistake, that she wanted to make things right. But the words sounded hollow, empty. The trust was gone, shattered beyond repair. The image of her in Jasper's arms was seared into my mind, a constant reminder of her betrayal. I spent the next few weeks in a daze, moving through the motions of life without feeling anything. I went to work, ate meals, slept in our bed, but I was just a shell, a shadow of my former self. Bronte tried to make amends. She showered me with affection, cooked my favorite meals, planned romantic getaways. But it was too late. The damage was done. I couldn't forgive her, couldn't forget what she had done. I consulted a lawyer and we began the process of divorce. It was a messy, painful affair. There were arguments, accusations, tears. We divided our assets, sold our apartment, and went our separate ways. I moved into a small, sterile apartment downtown. The silence was deafening, the emptiness overwhelming. I spent my days at work, burying myself in code, trying to forget the pain. At night, I would sit alone in the dark, haunted by memories of Bronte, of our life together, of the betrayal that had destroyed it all. One day, while cleaning out some old boxes, I stumbled upon a photograph. It was a picture of Bronte and me, taken during our honeymoon in Italy. We were young, happy, and full of hope. I stared at the photograph, tears streaming down my face. I realized that I wasn't just grieving the loss of our marriage, but the loss of our future, of the dreams we had shared. I decided I needed a change. I applied for a transfer to our company's London office. A fresh start, a new environment, a chance to rebuild my life. London was everything I hoped it would be. The city was vibrant, exciting, full of history and culture. I explored museums, wandered through parks, and discovered hidden pubs. I met new people, made new friends, and started to feel alive again. One evening at a work function, I met Imogen. She was a graphic designer, intelligent, witty, and beautiful. We struck up a conversation, and I found myself drawn to her warmth and humor. We started dating, and I slowly began to open my heart again. Imogen was everything Bronte wasn't. She was honest, loyal, and supportive. She listened to my stories, my fears, my dreams. She helped me to heal, to trust again, to believe in love again. One day, while browsing social media, I saw a post from a mutual friend. It was a picture of Bronte and Jasper, celebrating their first anniversary. They looked happy, carefree, completely oblivious to the pain they had caused. A wave of anger washed over me, a familiar ache in my chest. But then something unexpected happened. The anger faded, replaced by a sense of indifference. I realized that I no longer cared. Bronte and Jasper were no longer a part of my life. I had moved on, found happiness with Imogen, and built a new life for myself. I showed the picture to Imogen, and she squeezed my hand. "They look happy," she said. "But you're happier." I smiled and kissed her. She was right, I was happier. I had survived the betrayal, emerged stronger, and found love again. Bronte's actions had caused me immense pain, but they had also led me to Imogen, to a life I never could have imagined. A few months later, I received an email from Bronte. She was struggling, she wrote. Jasper had left her, and she was alone and miserable. She asked for my forgiveness, for a second chance. I hesitated, a flicker of sympathy in my heart. But then I remembered the pain she had caused me, the lies she had told, the betrayal that had shattered our marriage. I deleted the email without responding. I had given Bronte 20 years of my life, my love, my trust. She had thrown it all away for a fleeting moment of passion. I owed her nothing. I deserved to be happy, and I had finally found that happiness with Imogen. I married Imogen a year later in a small ceremony in the English countryside. It was the happiest day of my life. I looked at Imogen, her eyes sparkling with love, and knew that I had finally found my true soulmate. Years passed. I built a successful career in London, raised a family with Imogen, and lived a life filled with joy and love. Bronte remained a distant memory, a ghost from my past. One day I received a phone call from a private investigator. He had been hired by Jasper's wife. He had discovered that Bronte and Jasper had been involved in a fraudulent scheme at their company and were now facing criminal charges. They had lost everything, their jobs, their reputations, their freedom. I felt a pang of satisfaction, a sense of karmic justice. Bronte and Jasper had betrayed me, and now they were paying the price. I didn't gloat, didn't celebrate. I simply acknowledged that the universe had a way of balancing the scales. I told Imogen about the phone call, and she nodded. "They made their choices," she said, "and they have to live with the consequences." I agreed. I had made my choice to move on, to forgive, to find happiness, and I had no regrets. I learned a valuable lesson from my experience with Bronte. That love is not enough. That trust is essential, and that betrayal can shatter even the strongest bonds. But I also learned that it is possible to heal, to forgive, to find love again. That life goes on, even after the most devastating heartbreak. And that sometimes the greatest revenge is simply living well. My story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, to the power of forgiveness, and to the enduring nature of love. It is a story of heartbreak, betrayal, and ultimately triumph. I hope that my story will inspire others who have experienced similar pain to find the strength to move on, to rebuild their lives, and to believe in the possibility of a brighter future. And to Bronte, wherever she may be, I say this: I forgive you. But I will never forget. Years later, the scars of Bronte's betrayal had faded, replaced by the warmth of Imogen's love and the laughter of our children. I often wondered what had become of Bronte and Jasper, but the thought no longer held any sting. Their actions had ultimately paved the way for my own happiness, a bittersweet irony that I had come to accept. One crisp autumn evening, Imogen and I were strolling through Hyde Park, hand in hand, when I saw her. Standing across the path, her face etched with lines of regret and hardship, was Bronte. She looked older, worn down, a stark contrast to the vibrant woman I once knew. Our eyes met, and for a fleeting moment the years melted away. I saw a flicker of recognition in her gaze, a silent acknowledgement of the pain we had both endured. But there was no animosity, no bitterness, only a quiet resignation. She offered a small, hesitant smile, and I returned it with a nod. We passed each other without a word, two ships in the night, forever bound by a shared past but destined for separate horizons. As we walked on, Imogen squeezed my hand, her touch a comforting reassurance. "Who was that?" she asked gently. "Someone I used to know," I replied, my voice filled with a newfound peace. "Someone who taught me the true meaning of love and forgiveness." And in that moment, I realized that Bronte's betrayal had not only led me to Imogen, but had also transformed me into a stronger, more compassionate person. It had been a painful journey, but one that had ultimately led me to a place of profound happiness and contentment. My story is a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable heartbreak, life can still offer unexpected blessings and second chances. It is a testament to the power of resilience, the importance of forgiveness, and the enduring strength of the human heart. And to anyone who has ever been betrayed, I offer this simple message: you are not alone. Your pain is real, but it is not permanent. You have the power to heal, to move on, and to create a life filled with joy and love. Never give up on yourself, and never lose hope in the possibility of a brighter future. Looking back, I can see that Bronte's betrayal, devastating as it was also a catalyst for growth. It forced me to reevaluate my priorities, to embrace change, and to open my heart to new possibilities. It taught me the importance of self-love, the value of true friendship, and the transformative power of forgiveness. And so I am grateful, not for the pain, but for the lessons learned. For without the darkness, I would never have appreciated the light. Without the betrayal, I would never have found Imogen. And without the heartbreak, I would never have discovered the true strength that lies within me. My story is a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, a beacon of hope for anyone who has ever felt lost or broken. It is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there is always a light waiting to be found. And that with courage, resilience, and a little bit of faith, anything is possible. As I sit here today, surrounded by the love of my family, I can honestly say that I am happy. I have a beautiful wife, two wonderful children, and a fulfilling career. I have built a life that I am proud of, a life that is filled with joy, laughter, and love. And while the memory of Bronte's betrayal will always be a part of my story, it no longer defines me. It is simply a chapter in my past, a reminder of the challenges I have overcome and the strength I have found within myself. So to anyone who is struggling with heartbreak, betrayal, or loss, I offer this final piece of advice. Never give up on yourself. Never lose hope in the possibility of a brighter future. And always remember that you are stronger than you think, more resilient than you believe, and more loved than you can ever imagine. My story is a symphony of pain and triumph, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. It is a story of heartbreak, betrayal, and ultimately, redemption. And it is a story that I hope will inspire others to find their own path to healing, happiness, and love. I've shared my deepest wounds, my moments of despair, and my eventual triumph over betrayal, hoping it resonates with you. Remember, even in the darkest times, there's always a path to healing and a chance for a brighter future. Never lose hope.